Chapter 17, The Joker. Over the next couple of days, Paul and E.T. surprisingly hit it off, becoming friends, mostly because of the handling of the situation known as the Night of the Joker. Paul sitting at the bar having a one-on-one with E.T. Both men didn't talk much, but it seems they had more in common than just that. The sheets are in the wind as Pearl brings another round to the boys. This one is on E.T., both taking turns buying one scotch, one bourbon, and one beer. Bud walks in and the situation begins as noses go up in the air with disgust. The stink was unbearable, complaints of many, but it wasn't always like that, as Paul recalls. Bud, a retired corporate guru from Seattle, came to the mountain years ago with his wife Ellie, a very likable couple. They sat on the board of local clubs and charitable organizations. Bud and Ellie loved to keep busy side by side, donating their time, smiling with stars in their eyes. You could tell they were madly in love. Organizers of yearly outings, social events, and barbecues, etc. Back then, Bud had 1,000,001 of all sorts of cornball jokes, some hilarious in the telling. He could really get 'em laughing as Paul's memory continues. People loved to see the Joker and Ellie come around. This went on for years and years. Good times. Ellie was in love, laughing at all his jokes, though she had heard them many times. She thought he was cute and witty. Those were the days. Paul was just out of high school. Then after the sudden death of Ellie a few years back, his mind grief-stricken and slipping away with loneliness, Bud finds himself in a time of redeveloping, his meaning of life lost. Ellie was his everything. Bud didn't come around much for a while, and when he did, justifiably, he wasn't quite as funny as he once was, as you might imagine. The word going around is Bud seemed distant, a little dazed and confused, only remembering one joke and repeats that joke wherever he goes with no enthusiasm. At first, people laughed some out of respect and then not. Friends would stop by his house only to find him out back by the stream, seemingly unreachable, perhaps lost in the constellations far, far away. Bud spends the clear night sitting at his spot by the stream, no fire burning in the pit, pointing and looking up at the stars in silent remembrance. His lips move, but no word spoken. I suppose some bonds can't be broken. No children rushing to his side for comfort, 'cause there was none. Looking at the stars while talking to Bud was Ellie's favorite thing to do. She loved the Milky Way, having a fondness for the candy bar. Many a night after an evening at the Nooner, having fun, talking to old friends while having a few bourbons on the rocks, never overindulging, by the way. How lucky they was to have each other. The couple would make a full night of it, sitting out back by the fire pit, burning alongside the stream gently flows. The moon and stars up above. Bud's redevelopment took a turn for the worst. Okay, so this is where it gets a little sketchy. So apparently in Bud's despair, he no longer takes showers or changes his dirty clothes. Instead, he went to his walk-in closet and put on another set of clothes over the dirty clothes. Absolutely no one can explain this behavior. Yet Bud never touches Ellie's clothing hanging there. Both had great taste in clothes, designer stuff. He slept in the clothes as well. After a while, he became more and more recluse, and of course riper and riper with every layer. Surprisingly, he kept the house tidy and clean just the way Ellie did. When he left the house, you may not see him coming, but you could smell him. People shun away now, resenting the stinky bastard coming round. His stench is too much. There was talk of solutions by some of the locals. The concerns these days had nothing to be with Bud's feelings, paying no mind to his used-to-be status as the Joker came to town. Quite frankly, people were glad that Stinky B could only remember one joke. That's kind of harsh, don't you think? Bud was quite a sight as well. If he didn't smell like putrefaction in action, you wouldn't mind him coming round here. But a contradiction, really. On one hand, always clean-shaven, long hair but combed, brushed his teeth too. High-polished his shoes, only one pair at a time though, sometimes mixed-matched. And on the other hand, his clothing undescribable. He looked kind of like the Michelin tire guy. He had so many different outfits on, layer to layer, long sleeved, short sleeved. I think there's even a sport jacket in there somewhere. No bib overalls. Mind you, all designer top brand names from head to toe. Ellie had picked out all his clothes. When Bud and Ellie first got married, he was way overweight. He must be on the heavy side of his closet. Anyway, he looked all puffed up, about 3 times his body size. Shirt buttons and suspender straps bulging. Bud, 6 foot, 135 pounds now. I can't say soaking wet. He must be pretty strong to carry all that extra weight around. Due to the bulkiness of his attire, he was kind of slow to turn. Those offended put a plan together, strip Bud of his layer of thorns, and give that stinky bastard, their words, not mine, a bath, or at least soap him up and hose him down. But no one wanted to get that close. Okay, so we're all up to date about Bud, bless his heart. Bud walks in the high nooner, Paul and E.T. at the bar, the round table full. Dallas is working the restaurant side. The cook is slinging hash browns a mini. Pearl looks up from her duties and sees and smells Bud walk through the door as the bell dinged. Bud was quite the sight. Shocking, really. No one there had seen him in quite some time, though they heard rumors. He looked broad and wide, resembling the Michelin tire man, his attire bulging from head to toe. His face thin and frail, bringing with him a swarming flock of flies buzzing, people moving out of his way upon his approach to the bar, parting like the Red Sea, hisses and scornful looks from other patrons. The mood of the crowd changing, not for the better. He steps in front of Pearl. She takes a few steps back. With a dapper smile, Bud asks Pearl, "Do you know what Adam and Eve's address is?" Whether she did or she didn't, Pearl takes a few more steps back and quietly replies, "No." Bud snickers to himself and says, 281 Apple, someplace upstate New York, I think. As his words end, not expecting a laugh, I suppose, he turns with a blank look on his face and steps up to the bar and remains standing, fidgeting some. Those sitting at the round table and beyond, swatting flies, not saying a word. They could care less about the stinky SOB's personal issues. Would you? Hands go up in the air. Check, please. Pearl's dilemma, the request of many or the shame of one. Bud orders 2 bourbons on the rocks. He drinks one down, lays a 20 on the bar. Then he's gone. He's on the run as if he had an emergency call. Exit stage left. He speaks to no one and disappears out the back door. No ding. Paul looks at E.T., thinking to himself, it's probably just as well. Now it seems the joke is on Bud. The chatter begins, a lot of trivial and petty stuff of this and that. People enraged went as far as name-calling things like all of the above. I guess the joke really is on Bud. The thought of him lingers, or should I say the smell. Pearl looking at Paul with a look I can only describe as, please help, knowing Paul is that helping hand sort of guy. Paul stands up and calmly, methodically takes control of the crowd, a sight to behold. He gives E.T. a wink, I think. Paul says, "Now come on, people, that's enough of the name-calling. It just so happens E.T. and I are working on a plan this very moment. So relax, have a nice day. Don't forget to tip your server." E.T., impressed with Paul's take-charge attitude, knowing not everyone is a leader. Pearl smiles, thinking, "Oh, that Paul." E.T. rushes to the doors, propping them open for ventilation. That's a good start. A wind gently blows. Paul reflecting for a minute on past barbecues as a kid, the good times locked in his memories. Bud and Ellie were friends with Paul's folks. Paul sits in front of his crown with a splash of 7, the drink of the moment. He takes a sip. He gazes to the left as E.T. sits down and has a sip too. E.T. raises his glass in the air and says, "Cheers, Paul. Count me in." Pearl smiles. The twosome smiles too. Olga struts in a couple of hours late with, "Who let that stinky bastard Bud in here? I 86'd him last week," followed by, "Pearl, get me this and get me that." Pearl pays her no mind. She's busy flirting with the boys. Dallas had the restaurant covered. So Pearl was having a drink with Olga's current hooked victim and the one guy that turned Olga's irresistible charms down flat years ago. So needless to say, she didn't like Paul. Along with that, he keeps winning the cash prizes playing the pull tabs. She didn't like that either. He had to be cheating somehow. No one is that lucky. Having her own agenda with the pull tabs, she must know how he does it. Pearl and the boys end up drinking all night. Olga goes home alone, her eyes rolled and her eyelids flutter. A couple days came and went. Both Paul and the E.T. had been busy. Paul had put his plan together for the Joker and was ready to put said plan into action. He needed E.T.'s help to pull it off. E.T. had been working for Olga after hours. Oh, I know what you're thinking. Well, that's a given considering Olga's pretty lips. But that's not what I'm talking about. E.T. was setting up a hidden security surveillance system that would rival systems of today. With a push of a button, Olga could see and hear everything from the bar and beyond, complete with a zoom-in control, all programmed to the big screen TV in her apartment. I heard someone ask, "What about old Get?" She had not been around much since she tangled with that there Chinese beetle, bless her heart. Olga's quick reply, "Who cares? She's probably eating a Slim Jim playing in the dumbwaiter. I like to refer to as old Get Waiter. What's a mother to do? Buddha's in the tunnels doing Buddha things. No stars tonight. Peeps sitting on the safe Indian." Paul pulls old Yeller into the Joker's backyard with a portable hot tub in tow, one of Paul's side businesses. Paul headed to Bud and Ellie's spot down by the stream. Paul somehow convinced Bud that Giselle, who Paul claimed to be a clairvoyant gypsy, got a message from Ellie, and this is part of what Ellie wanted done. Paul very close-mouthed about what was said. E.T. came along to help and watch the show, and as we know, he's not a big talker. Giselle and Paul had been friends for a long time. Giselle had somewhat of a dubious reputation as an expensive ball fondler. Love any game with balls. In today's world, you might say a Stormy Daniels look-alike. No one was prettier or sexier looking. Enough said. A high-end call girl affiliated with Sherry's exclusive men's club in Las Vegas area, by appointment only. Due to Paul's humble demeanor, it is not known why she came to town to handle the dirty balls of the Joker. Paul and E.T. cut the layers of clothes off of Bud willingly. Bud slid into the hot tub as Giselle worked him over in her usual hands-on way, using all her scented oils, shampoos, etc. all natural, of course. Giselle and Bud spent the night gazing at the stars, sipping on magic mushroom tea. After Giselle worked him over, he was smiling from ear to ear. She was too. Bud asked Giselle to marry him several times that night. It is not known what she said. Paul, E.T., and the Joker, all smiling, walk into the nooner next day to show off Bud's new look. The bell dinged. It's funny how things turn out sometimes. No one could have foreseen the unusual death of the Joker. Who knew that Bud would get a chill from the removal of the layers of clothing his body had gotten so used to and succumbed to pneumonia? Before that happened, Bud made sure those involved knew he was thankful for the magic of his rebirth from his layers of loneliness. People were amazed of his transformation. In a heartfelt moment at the nooner, the Joker raised his glass, thanking Paul and his buddy E.T. for releasing him from his life of despair. He would be eternally grateful, making no mention of Giselle. Giselle went back to Vegas not knowing the final outcome after the night of the Joker. Giselle left Bud smiling big, looking all brand new from head to toe. Haircut, fresh clothes, etc. He was looking and feeling good, talking sensible. Her motto, when it's time to leave, you leave 'em smiling. I say mission accomplished. Paul, E.T., and Pearl smile. Pearl removed his name from the 86 list. Olga had written in, Bud that stinky bastard, in big bold letters on the 86 board behind the bar. The guest at the round table insisting Bud take his place at the head of the table once again, and they wasn't joking. Bud pulled Paul off to the side, asking him one last favor. Bud says, when it comes time to that time, would you do me the honor of casting Ellie and my ashes to the wind down by the spot by the stream? Our ashes will intermingle again till the end of time. Paul said, of course, I know right where you mean. The stream gently flows. Unfortunately, Bud died a few weeks later of pneumonia. He's got a date with Ellie. It is said Giselle is in Bud's last will and testament, leaving all his worldly possessions to her. His final joke.